This is our transactions from the last week, and it was a spiral into chaos. Hi, I'm Bo.
Now I'm Chaos.
Yes, we are trying to pay off $68,000 worth of debt
Sorry.
and buy a house so we can have financial stability for us and his 3 kids. And we're in the process of buying a house right now, and chaos has ensued. We are both kind of emotional spenders, when more so than I am.
Yes.
And you shall see if you haven't already. Let's get right in. You shook the table, but let's get right into the transaction. So, we're starting this week with the 28th of March. So, Wynn got anchor charts for school. They are supposed to be reimbursed. We shall see how that goes. That was $43. And then snacky snacks for $6. And then I stuffed $130 in envelopes that was split between groceries and bulk shopping. Then on the 29th, the kids' copay came out for $40. And more snacky snacks for $9. This was 2 separate transactions. And I went over budget by $18 in my personal spending because I was a naughty, naughty Wicked Witch. And then on the 30th, Wynn went to Family Dollar, spent $35 with the boys. Don't know what all that was. I think ice cream was involved.
It was ice cream. One of the boys had pulled money out of his piggy bank for stuff he wanted.
Well, that's not the $35 though, right?
As part of it.
Oh, so you took his money and then paid with the card?
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, that all that chaos.
There was a lot.
Okay.
There was a lot going on.
$35. And then I went over budget for home shopping for $13. Now this one 100% like justifiable. What tipped us over the edge was shaving cream, and it was very important.
Yes.
It was very important. It was actually a bulk order of shaving cream, which I considered putting in the bulk shopping category, but bulk shopping is groceries, so I didn't really want to do that.
Do paper towels and toilet paper count as bulk as well?
No, I normally take that out of home shopping.
Oh, yeah. We just happened to get it from Costco, which is...
Yes.
Got it.
Same with when I get my allergy meds. I get them from Costco, but those come out of the health category.
Fair enough.
So, like, the bulk shopping is really just meant to be groceries.
Now, y'all, I do not consider myself necessarily a very competitive person, but when I realized that she was overspending a little bit, I was not going to be outdone.
And that is absolutely not what happened. This was an independent decision, because he doesn't look at my accounts. So
Details.
On the 31st, Wynn got a ride share. For $32. And then I paid earnest money, the rest of the earnest money. I hadn't known when this was going to happen in advance. I knew that it was going to happen, but I didn't know when. So I got an email saying it's time. So I just had to zip over $4,000. And then there was an $8 convenience fee for paying online. Is that $8 convenient for me? No. But such is life, I suppose. And then I took $975 out of my emergency fund because Wynn needed an emergency root canal. One of his teeth broke.
In half.
Yes. And it hurt to breathe.
Yeah.
Because the
So Not at first. First it broke, and then a couple days, and that sucked. But I was gonna schedule an appointment for that. And then a couple days later, I had popcorn. And what did popcorn have? Unpopped kernels. That chipped a whole other chunk of my tooth, and then it was an exposed nerve. And like she said, talking was a choice.
Yes. So he actually missed work to have this emergency root canal, which was also why he got the ride share, because
I almost missed the appointment.
He almost missed the appointment because he was knocked out because he needed to be unconscious to make it through the pain until the appointment, and then he overslept. So
also, full transparency, I had set an alarm for when I should get up to go, but I was basing that off the traffic in the morning when there's more buses, and didn't stop to think that it would take longer to get up there in the middle of the day.
Yes.
So, poor planning on my part.
That too. And then more snacky snacks for $7 because that's how we roll. And then on the 1st, we have the bills. So rent came out for $13.50. Insurance for the boys, their health insurance came out for $103. Netflix for $20 and YouTube Premium Family for $26. Netflix is driving me nuts, and we are very heavily considering stopping Netflix. So I was actually thinking about switching to Crunchyroll. Because I tend to watch anime while I'm on my stationary bike, and I normally watch that on Netflix, but Crunchyroll has all the anime. So I don't know. That's a thought. And Crunchyroll is less expensive than Netflix. So I don't know. It's a thought. But then on the 2nd, we have Fabulous for $2, and that's just an app that we use to help manage our ADHD. This one is Wynn's app. Mine is still the same name. It's still Fabulous, but I pay for my app annually. I pay for his app monthly, if that makes sense. And then on the 3rd, we brought in Wynn's savings account interest from March 3rd for $41. And then he saved $126 for the wedding fund. And I saved $31 for Christmas and $424 for moving. So, happy about that. Especially considering when I did this, but no, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it when I get to that page. But next is the envelopes. So this is the envelope tracker. I just made this in Google Sheets, super basic. Actually, no. Was it Google Sheets? Yeah, it was. Okay, so groceries, we started with $44, added $80, spent $56, which is really good for us. So there's $68 left. Bulk buys, started with $43, added $50, spent $46, so there's $47 left in there. Transportation, didn't spend anything or add anything, so there's $64. Health, didn't spend or add anything, there's $379. Now, I thought about dumping this to pay for part of the root canal, but we don't know when more prescriptions will come up or anything like that, so I decided to leave this here and just take from the emergency fund. And that's one of the things about budgeting is you can decide which category things are coming out of. It's not necessarily set in stone. Things are flexible. As flexible as you'll let them be. Home shopping. Started with $43, spent $56, so added $13 to make it $0. Birthdays started with $9, didn't spend any. Clothing started with $187, didn't spend any. Shoes started with $233, didn't spend any. And then pet care started with $100, didn't spend any. And personal started with 7, spent 25, so I had to add 18 to get to 0. And then Alpha Bus started with 116, didn't spend any, so there's 0. This was actually, I got a new planner. I like to do like goal setting, including like all the categories of life in my planner. And it got to a point where our life has changed so much since I set my goals initially that, initially last year, that I felt like I couldn't move forward with the goals I had as they were written. So I decided to just start afresh, like with this whole moving process starting, start afresh so that I can have goals and move towards them, ones that make sense for where we are in our lives now. So that was $25. I consider it an investment. But that did put us over budget. But not as over budget as when. So yay for me, I suppose. So for the actual budget, that means for inflow, his paycheck was $19.93. We didn't end up using the second paycheck because turns out I was super tired and like spacey when I did this budget and I messed up. So good news, I messed up.
Bank error in your favor.
Essentially. But my paycheck was $14.91 as budgeted. Other income, $264, more than budgeted, and we're okay with that. And then from savings, $4,983, which is significantly more than budgeted, but necessary. So that's a total inflow of $87.31. We're not investing right now, but let's go to his spending.
Where we've got rent is $13.50. Kid bills came out to $183 this time.
As budgeted.
Oh, yeah, as budgeted. Wait for it. Electric bill, $142. That could have been way worse. Adventures, $20, and miscellaneous, instead of the budgeted $50, a womp of $243. Y'all, when she says that we are emotional spenders and I'm worse, she's not kidding. Part of how a budget even works, and just to tie it into the core concept here, a budget is not a strict ruling. And before you even go there, this is not to justify my spending. The point is you have to adapt as things change, and a budget lets you go back and see what changed for better or worse, and to be able to understand what happened. So when I look back at the times when my spending pattern is going overboard or even spiraling, I can't help but notice it comes at times of transition. I blame ADHD, among other things, not as a scapegoat, so much as recognizing a pattern. So part of what I'm going to be doing moving forward, next time we know a transition's coming, the next big one is moving. The next big one after that is end of school into summer. That is a time to start thinking about how to buckle down in anticipation instead of in response to overspending that we totally could have seen coming because budget beats broke again and again. Having said that, this is just a reflection of patterns of spending. I haven't actually made those changes yet, but it's on record. I knew what was coming, so yeah. But all that spending comes out to $1,938, leaving us with $6,793 remaining.
So, when I said that I messed up on the budget, this section is what I mean. So, the heating bill, I budgeted for that because it was due the last day of the last pay period, And I wrote this budget before the last day of the pay period, so I wasn't sure if it was actually going to come out on time. So that's why this was budgeted. So that's like relatively okay. And that's why we initially planned to bring in a second paycheck for this, was so that the heating bill in particular could be covered. But that didn't happen. It came out on time, so, that's fine. But also, the internet and S&M collections, these were supposed to be budgeted for next pay period, not this pay period. Whenever I do the budget, I'm looking at the calendar and I'm seeing what bills are supposed to come out within this time period. I did that, and then I still wrote down the amounts knowing that these weren't in the time period. So I must have been real tired, but I wasn't going to go back and pretend I didn't do that. So we're just dealing with things as they are, and that's okay.
We're not about that Delulu life, so long as we can help it. This is everything she just said is very specific. Can you imagine how much more difficult it would be to untangle a relatively simple mistake, like being sleepy and writing things down at the wrong time, without this? I'd rather not think about that.
Indeed. And also, it would be really complicated to write a new budget every time I discovered a mistake that I made. I'm not going to do all that. I know some people do. Some people will go back and they'll write a new budget. I will not. I own my mistakes. I try to be transparent. We are not perfect budgeters by far, but we're still moving in the right direction, and really that's all that matters. But all that being said, let's move on. So for his saving.
For savings, top priority, the wedding fund. Saved 126, subtotal 126, leaving 6,667 remaining.
Yep. And then we get to my spending, which is my checking account. If you didn't know, we do not share bank accounts. My monthly bills, $48 as budgeted. His debt got nothing. Dining out, we spent $50. We went $20 over budget. We've gone over budget a lot. And then groceries in bulk, $260 as budgeted. Transportation, $60 as budgeted. We love that. Health, $80 as budgeted, but only because I used the emergency fund for the emergency root canal. Home shopping, $43, which is $13 more than budgeted, but it is what it is. The shaving cream that we get is really nice. So I'm willing to pay a little extra for that. Birthdays, $5 as budgeted. Clothing and shoes, $50 as budgeted. Pet care, $15 as budgeted. Then personal and alphabet went $18 over budget because I got that planner. No regrets. That is a subtotal of $729 for my spending, leaving us with $59.38. And then for my saving, which is my savings account, we are at a total of $53 saved for Christmas this pay period. Yeah. And then $902 saved for the moving fund. If you didn't watch our savings goal check-in, it's okay, really. But we started a new goal so that we can keep saving for the moving fund up until the time where our apartment lease is up. So we're still going with that. Subtotal of $955 leaves us with $49.83, which is the savings spent. So, fun fact, this is good news. City Sticker, I had been budgeting. I originally budgeted $105 for the year, and then I got the courtesy reminder and saw that it was $41 for 4 months, and I figured I was going to do that. But I decided that I was going to go directly to the city clerk office for my City Sticker instead of going to the local currency exchange, which is what I normally do. Now, the downside to going to the city is they're open 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. That's it. And the lines usually are out the door and around the corner. So the first time I tried to get my City Sticker, I was in line for over an hour and I didn't make it to the front of the line before 5. They shut the door and locked it. When I was still like 5 people from the front of the line, I was devastated because then I had to try again. But I found out that going to the city, that means because I'm a veteran, I don't have to pay for my city sticker. So it does change my expiration date. So from now on, my city stickers will expire in November. And then I have to get them every year, and I have to go in person. I can't pay online. I can't pay over the phone, nothing like that. I have to go in person and prove that I'm a veteran every single year. So is that worth saving $100 a year? I think so, personally. I will definitely be more strategic about when I go to the city clerk's office, but I think it's worth it to save the money. And then for moving, it was $4,008, and that includes the convenience fee for paying online. And that's, of course, more than budgeted. But that's okay because I didn't know when I was going to have to pay this earnest money or what other expenses were going to come up. So I was just I was spitballing, y'all. I was making up stuff in my head. But there's that. And then root canal that Wynn got was $975 out of savings. So that's a total of $4,983 savings spent, which it hurts, y'all. It hurts. I've been seeing my bank account go down like crazy.
It's not what we like.
Oh, it's not how we make friends. It's not good at all. But when it comes down to it, this money is meant to be spent. We're just trying to make it last as long as possible.
Yep. And by and large, this doesn't happen on accident. That did. But moments like that are far more survivable when so much of this is done on purpose. And really, that's at the heart of this. This is all an exercise in intentionality. As Bo was mentioning earlier, it doesn't always do, for everyone, to completely revamp things all the time. Different approaches work for different people. This is what has made the most sense for us in our situation so far. If you feel that your situation is similar enough to ours or that this makes sense for you, great. If you want to pick a couple things that do work and sort it out your way, fantastic. Just so long as you are doing it on purpose and keeping track. Because, telling y'all, budget beats broke every time.
And never forget that you deserve financial stability. And I hope you have a great day on purpose. Bye.